Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. Yes, you hear me right. I'm speaking English this time because my today's guest is from the UK and we recorded this interview in English. And no, I'm not going to switch Zimtrov Radio into a podcast in English language. But throughout the year, I will introduce some international guests as well. So you can look forward to a broad variety of guests and conversations. If you have been a listener to the podcast so far, which I hope, you already know my today's guest, or at least his music. Harry Kirzy is a British musician living on Fuerteventura for already 7 years. We met because of a mutual friend of ours, and this friend called me while I was searching for music for the podcast. He played me Island Life, which is the song you always hear when you put on an episode. Harry instantly agreed that I can use the song, which led me asking him if he wants to be a guest in the show. The conversation you are about to hear is the first real conversation Harry and I ever had, because until this point, we only knew each other via text messages. Honestly, I expected a nice conversation with Harry, but I did not expect the depth we instantly found and so many common interests, books, authors we dig, and common heroes of ours. Sure, we talk about his music, how he finds inspiration for his songs, and why he loves being on stage so much. But we even go deeper. He tells me how he found his purpose in life, chugging past a bar playing live music, why traveling is so important in his life, what mathematics has to do with music, and that taking risks in life is not really risky at all. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy my conversation with Harry Kirzy. Harry, welcome to the show.
Hey man, how's it going?
Good, man. Thanks for having me in your home.
No, it's okay. Thanks for inviting me on the podcast.
For sure. I mean, how couldn't I? You're the sponsor of the music.
True.
For everyone listening, this is the man who produced and made the song that a lot of people really do like.
Yeah.
As far as I know, and they tell me, I just know it's just perfect. I love it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you using it. It gets it out there. So
that's, the thing is, we actually get to know each other right now, I would say.
Yeah.
We haven't really talked much before.
Yeah.
And you're already on the podcast from the first second.
Yeah, wow. It's nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the story behind it. I was sitting on the balcony with my computer, having the idea for the podcast. And our mutual friend Tony came outside and he was asking me what I'm doing. I said, yeah, I'm thinking about making a podcast and I have to sort out stuff like, what do I need to record? And I think I need some music. And then he just grabbed his phone and he played me your song.
Oh.
And he said, what do you think about that? I said, perfect.
No.
Can I use it? He said, I will ask the guy who made it. And that's how your song
that's amazing.
got into.
And now we're on my balcony with your laptop.
Exactly.
On the podcast.
See? Close the circle now.
Close the circle.
Yeah.
Wow. No, it's nice, man. Tony's such a legend. We were saying earlier. Tony plays saxophone here in Coralejo. And he's just such a vibe. Such a vibrant guy.
Yeah.
And it's cool that he's our mutual friend. Brought us together in this circle.
Yeah. That's how it goes on the island. I have the feeling. So Island Life is the perfect
Island Life
song for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
How have you found the inspiration to write that song?
Well, I think that particular song, I was thinking I want to write, a song about island life, I suppose.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that listen to my music, I know that they listen to it when they come here on holiday and stuff. So I was like, I want to make a song that's sort of, a holiday song.
It is.
And
it's
a song that people,
song.
Yeah, exactly. A summer song that people that come to Fuerteventura or any other island can like whack on the radio or on the beach and vibe to when on holiday, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So how long have you been living on the island now?
Been here for like 7 years or
7
something.
years
It's
already?
crazy. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. A while. You're looking at me like I'm crazy.
No.
No.
I thought, I thought you've been here for a couple of years, maybe like 2 or 3 years.
No,
but
yeah.
More or less, you're like a local.
You pretty much.
Yeah.
Almost local. Yeah. At this point.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And you just released a new song?
Yeah.
As the Sun Sets, right?
Yeah.
I listened to it and it really caught me in that moment.
Yeah.
It's different from the mood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a sad song, I guess. Well, it is. And yeah, I don't know if we go into that straight away because it's a heavier topic.
I don't really know if you want to.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it. Let's get straight into the deep.
Let's get straight into it.
No.
Yeah.
Well, the songs pretty much came from a conversation with a friend, and she said her friend had like an illness and was like had like literally days potentially to live, and pretty much he loved Cotillo, which for anyone listening that doesn't know Fuerteventura, it's like the place to go to watch a sunset, and he absolutely loves like watching the sunset.
That's true, yeah.
And for his last literally day of life, they take him down there to see his last sunset.
Okay.
And it's actually amazing like what they did for him, because they got like an ambulance to like take him down because he wasn't able to like go physically.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
And they like set him up and enjoyed like the last sunset together. And like my friend and I, like she told me that story, and we were just sitting in this cafe like just bawling our eyes out pretty much. She told me like after he'd passed away, and it like hit me as well, and like relatable in, you know, I'm sure we've all lost people, you know. And we're just, you know, when you're talking about something heavy and it's like you're in public, so you try not to like be completely like crying.
For sure.
So we were in between this state of like crying and then like laughing, because we were like, we're so stupid, I can't believe we're, you know, crying in a cafe. And crying in a cafe could be an accident. No, I'm joking. But
okay.
So we were like in this weird flipping between literally crying and then laughing and then crying and laughing. We looked like crazy people in this cafe. And it was such like an emotional afternoon, such a heavy and like beautiful story. And after that moment of that cafe, I came home, and then I wrote that song like there and then. It just literally all came right there and then as the sun sets. And to me, the story was beautiful because it's just a beautiful story, but also so poetic, like the last sunset, like the sun setting, representing the end of life as well. Like, I mean, that's literally like poetry, you know?
For sure.
So that's why the song's called As the Sun Sets, and that's what the lyrics are about essentially. Okay. And also like with, you know, a mix of that story and my like relation to, I guess, like death and losing a loved one as well. So yeah. That's
okay, it's a beautiful
heavy
song.
start to the podcast.
Heavy start to the podcast, but you know, this is what we're here.
Yeah,
talking,
for sure.
You know?
For sure. Yeah.
So thanks for sharing.
No,
I really love the song. I mean, it's really cool, and I put, you know, people who've been listening to the podcast, they know there's all the links to what you're producing to your songs.
Oh, maybe.
Already always there for sure.
Thanks, man.
So the song really caught me in a good moment.
Yeah. Oh.
So that's why I wanted to ask you what it's about.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Man, it's nice that you messaged, because you said like it caught you. And
I saw it in your story. I put it on right then and there.
Oh.
And I was listening to it, and I thought it's a beautiful song, and I just wanted to let you know.
Oh, thanks.
So,
thanks.
Yeah.
It's nice it's nice to get messages like that. And a few people messaged me that day and were like, oh, like, I didn't expect that, with like a sort of like sad face, or, you know, like, it's nice to know that it reaches people emotionally, because sometimes when you write a song, especially if it's very personal, you think, is this song like just for me, or should I even share it? Should I even share it? Is this, are people going to care? Are people going to relate? Are they going to even listen to the words? You know, I think this is, I don't know if it's just me or if it's anyone making any kind of art, or maybe even the podcast, you know, like, you think, are people going
to... Same for me. I was thinking about, you know, if I put it out there, maybe nobody's listening to it.
Yeah.
But in the end, I'm doing it for myself as well.
Yeah.
So I love to have conversations with people that I really, you know, dig, and that really interest me. Yeah. And in the end, I thought I had so many nice conversations, good conversations in my life that gave me something. Yeah. That I would love to re-listen to. So I thought, for sure, why not making a podcast
and capture the moments as well.
Yeah, just capture it. Yeah.
So when you make something like that, like the podcast or the song, and then people say, "Wow, like I connected with that," whether it's I cried to it, or I danced to it, or I went to the beach and put it on like Island Life, or someone listens to the podcast and saying like, "Wow, like I whacked you on in my car and I learned something," or just felt like I was hanging out with you guys, or whatever. It means so much, because it's like my experience, or this thing that I made, has actually reach people in the way that I intended it to, and it's not just a waste of time, you know, or not just like my own therapy. It's actually
I think it's never
someone
a
else
waste
is
of
as well.
time, but but
Yeah,
you've
exactly.
given something from yourself
Yeah.
and it helps someone else.
Yeah.
It's a really, really good feeling.
Yeah, for sure. And it's every time that happens, like I say, whether it's a happy song, I guess like when I make music, sometimes I make a song that's like fun or like that for a certain purpose, like Island Life, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And then other times I make ones that are like as the sun sets that feel like they are from like the heart, you know? Not that the other songs aren't from the heart, but they're not pouring my heart out kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
just
for
fun.
sure. Yeah, it's fun, or it's another mood you're in when you're writing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when people connect to those, it like really means something. People will say to me sometimes, would you ever sell your songs?
Mm-hmm.
Would you sell your music? And I would, but I would sell the fun ones. I don't think I could sell like As the Sun Sets and let someone else sing it. It would feel weird,
Okay.
but I could sell Iron Life and let someone else sing it.
Sure.
Maybe controversial, but I could, you know?
No,
Like, I would.
no,
Yeah.
I mean, music has so much variety,
Uh-huh.
and it's, every like song has its part for something else.
For a purpose, yeah.
Yeah, for another purpose.
Yeah.
Exactly. So for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, since we're sitting here for the first time together, I have to admit I Googled you before
Okay.
just to find out a little
Wow. Oh my God.
stuff. And what the internet says is that you actually wanted to study mathematics.
Yeah.
Is that true?
The internet's correct, yeah.
Okay, that's correct. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So pretty much my whole life, like growing up as a kid until like a young adult,
Yeah.
maths was my thing. Like maths,
cool.
I always loved maths. I was like the weird kid at school that loved maths as the nerd. And I always thought I was going to go to university to do maths. Like my sister went to university, she studied French, but she was always like, I want to like do that as well and like be like her. And yeah, it came to the point like after college of actually applying, and I did apply to do maths and I got the place.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had this feeling, like, when you get that heart feeling like this is wrong kind of feeling. I had that feeling.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, it was like complete, like, oh my God, like, people say sometimes they look down an alley and they're like, oh, I shouldn't go down there. Like, that's like a heart, like telling you don't do it, like an intuition.
Mm-hmm.
I had a very strong intuition, like, don't do maths.
Okay.
And from that moment, it was like dread going to university. And I was thinking about what would I do afterwards? And I couldn't imagine like a career in maths because I loved maths, but I couldn't imagine being an accountant. I couldn't imagine doing engineering. None of these jobs like appealed to me, but I loved maths for maths. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And I just had this feeling of like, no, I can't go to uni. And I told my mom, like soon after I was sure I wasn't going to go, she literally cried, was like, no, you're wasting you're wasting opportunity. She was just upset. She thought I was like throwing my life away. My dad was like, it's up to you. He was pretty, they weren't disappointed in me, but they were like, do you need to think about this? Like make sure you're making the right decision. Because my whole life I've been this academic guy, but I was like, no, I'm going to take a gap year. I'm going to just work and save up. And I did. And I worked in like a co-op. I don't know if you know what a co-op is. It's like a supermarket in the UK.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
like a little supermarket. And I had a couple other little jobs like delivery stuff and saved up. And then I did this big cycling trip throughout Europe. And me and my friend, it's crazy to think that we did it because we were literally 18 or 19, hadn't really traveled much, didn't know anything about the world. Not that I do now, but we literally were 19, barely left our hometown. We got on our bikes in the south of England and we cycled, got the boat over to France, went through France, Belgium, Holland, back through France and into Spain and finished in Barcelona. And when I was in Holland, I met a girl, an Italian girl that was she said she was moving to Fuerteventura. I met her in a cafe. And I didn't know what Fuerteventura was. I thought it was literally a theme park because like there's a theme park called something like Portaventura or something. I thought it was a theme park. I was like, why are you moving to a theme park? How does that work? She's like, no, it's a Canary Island. I was like, oh, okay. And that was the conversation at the cafe. And that was it. Like we left cycling, carried on. And afterwards I stayed in contact with her and she invited me to come visit her here. And that was after our cycling trip. And again, I was in this weird existential state of like, what am I going to do with my life?
Okay.
Literally like after that trip, I just like was panicking like, God, what am I going to do? I don't want to do maths. I'm not doing that. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And I had all these things that I loved. I loved music. I loved maths, like I say. I loved like health stuff. I loved traveling. I just had these things that I loved doing, but I couldn't imagine a career. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to go visit this girl that I met and see what Fuerteventura is like. It's like an opportunity. And then I came here, and one evening I was like jogging, like running.
Mm-hmm.
And I was running just down the road past Rock Island Bar.
Oh, you were here in Coralejo.
In Coralejo, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was jogging past Rock Island Bar.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never been in, and literally heard like music coming from Rock Island.
Yeah.
So I stopped and popped my head in. I don't know if you've ever been to Rock Island. Have you ever been there when there's music on?
No.
So it's like very intimate.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a music venue. There's always music and everyone's listening, like, and it's normally packed.
Ah, okay.
So I popped my head in, and this place has like fairy lights. There's like a big double bass. It's a really cool place, and everyone's just focused on the music.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that was on stage saw me, stopped playing, and just started like roasting me, like making a joke out of me, just as a laugh. But I was like so caught off guard because all I wanted to do was peep in, and suddenly I'm like the center of attention, getting jokes made out of everyone. Like he's roasting and everyone's laughing at me. And I was like, God. And I didn't know anyone, and I wouldn't normally do this, but I was like, I shouted out, "I'll show you how to sing if you like." And everyone was like, oh, like making a scene. And he just played the intro to Folsom Prison Blues.
Okay.
I don't know if you know it, Johnny Cash. So he just played down, 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 down. And I used to always sing that song. That was like my song, And he was like, all right then, like come up. So I got on stage and he said, what do you want to play? Like, what do you want to sing? And I was like, just carry on playing that. And he played it and I sang it with him. I ended up playing the whole night with him in my little running shorts and like Nikes. Okay. I was on stage for like 2 hours with him.
That was fate.
It was like fate, yeah.
Wow.
And because I didn't know anyone, I was so comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't done much performing. Like I did a bit of busking and I'd say gigs, but not really, like a few things.
In your hometown?
In my hometown. Okay. I was so nervous. Mm-hmm. But when I was on that stage then, because I didn't know anyone, I was like, I can be whoever I want. And he's like, okay, do you want to come back tomorrow? And I was like, yeah. So the next day I came back down and I was just terrified because now it's like prepared, mentally. Yeah, and I was just
by purpose.
Stiff. Yeah. And before I get on, he's like, and this is Harry, he was here last night and he's going to sing for us and he's great. And like bigging you up. And then I was there like crumbling and I pretty much crumbled. I don't know if it went as bad as it did in my mind, but I felt like it went pretty bad. And I had to like convince myself that it wasn't a big deal to get on stage. I was like, one day we're all going to die. We're just a speck of dust in the universe. Because I had like really bad stage fright, let's say.
Yeah, okay.
And anyway, long story short, I spent 2 weeks playing music and meeting all the musicians and getting shown around. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm coming out here and going to try and do music as a living. And that's what I've been doing since pretty much.
So that was the moment for you?
Literally changed my life that moment.
Changed your life.
If I didn't go running that night, maybe I would have been here in another way, maybe not. But that moment really gave me a lot of confidence. And I think it's because, like I say, no one knew me and I got on stage.
Yeah.
If it happened in another way, I don't know if it would have happened the same. Yeah. So it's really was like a key moment in my life. Yeah.
How cool of you to say, I show you how to think.
It sounds cool. I can't believe I did it. It's not like something I would have done. Yeah. It was really, and it was, I think because he played that intro and it's a song that I used to always sing.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, like this is like fate. In the moment, I was like, I can't not say it. Like, it was like the opportunity was there.
Wow.
Yeah, it really was.
And you took it.
Yeah.
For sure. Wow. And then you went back home, or did you just
Then I went back home, and I was home in December.
Uh-huh.
And it was like miserable. Like all I wanted to do was get back out here. And that's really what also made me know I need to go back, because I came from this like 2 weeks of excitement, being on stage and like being in the sun in December, in like November.
In November, yeah.
And then going home in December where it's freezing. I had like no friend, like I had friends, but like not like a social life, and just in the cloud and rain. And I was like, I need to get back out there. So in January, I just came back and yeah.
Just a month, and then you were
literally, I was like, I'm coming back out. Yeah.
Okay. And then you never left.
And then I never left, apart from little trips and stuff, but not living, sure, living wise. Yeah,
now it's your new home.
Yeah.
Not new, meanwhile, but that was your new home.
That was my new home, from then, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was really crazy. Really, and like, I didn't explain in that sort of how anxious and like, I was so obsessed with finding what I was supposed to do with my life, in quotation marks. Like, everyone at school growing up, I don't know if it's the same in Germany, but in England, it's like you've got to know what you want to do and do it forever. That's kind of like how they pitch it.
I mean, that's the straight line you're supposed to follow.
That's what everyone's saying. And especially like if you're academic, I think at school, everyone's saying you have to go to uni, you have to get a job doing, like, for me, maths, you know, you have to do this, you have to do that.
Yeah, that's a safe road, you know.
Yeah. And like, you're good at this, do that.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was saying that. People that cared about me, people that didn't know me, people at school, everyone. And I was like, God, I don't want to do that. And it was making me anxious. And I was like, I want to, like I say, like, travel, and I want to do music, and I want to, you know, do health, but I don't want to do one of them. How do I do this? And that moment,
How do you do it together, right?
how did it together? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to balance when you've got to choose your direction.
Mm-hmm.
And how do I decide? Because if I do maths, my life's going to be one way, and I don't know. It's a big mystery. If I travel, it's going to be one way. If I do music, it's going to be one way. That's why I took like this gap year, essentially. And I really recommend that for anyone that's in that situation. Like, if anyone's listening that is like 19 or 18, needs to make a decision.
I wanted
if you're
to
not
ask
sure,
you
then
exactly that.
Yeah,
If
100%.
you-
Don't rush. And it's a big decision. And again, in England, it's like university is like £9,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, if you move out, you've got to like pay. You get like loans for like paying for the rent and stuff. So it works out to be, you know, you're tens of thousands of pounds in debt, which, you know, is good if you want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
fine.
risky in itself.
But it's risky in itself.
But it's supposed to be the safe road.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think it's like part of business. And if you do want to be a doctor, or you do want to be an engineer, then definitely go for it. But if you're not sure, I would consider a gap year, 100%. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I would. If I could do it all again, I like what I did so far. I would just not really to squeeze in, but I would take some time just to do that.
Okay.
Just to take a gap year and just make experiences.
Yeah.
Just finding those situations that might shape your life in a different way.
And you're so young at that point to make an investment, money and time. Again, it's not a problem if you know what you want to do and you're like, I do want to be a doctor, but I think there's just a lot of pressure to have it all figured out when, like, it's okay to not. It's okay to not have it all figured out.
Meanwhile, I think it's still okay if you think you figured it out and then you change your way.
Yeah, 100%.
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, nobody forces you to do the same thing for the next 45 years.
For sure.
You don't have to spend 45 years becoming good at something. You can become good in something after 5 years and maybe then change your direction as well.
Definitely.
Again. And that's what life is about, maybe.
Yeah. I think the way it is pitched at school and at like high school, college, is like you have to know what you want to do and do that forever. And that was what freaked me out.
Yeah.
If they would have said,
it's the
like,
same in Germany, I would say.
Is it like that? Yeah. That's what freaks me out more than anything. Because it's like, if they would have just said, like, you can do, like, it's okay, like, you can do maths and try that and see if you like it. If it was pitched like that, I might have done it. But they were like, you've got to know, like, what are you going to do?
Pressure.
It's like, oh my God, like, I don't know, I'm 18. I don't know anything about myself or the world or what I like. I've not been like,
who you want to be in this world.
You don't want to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Crazy. Did you go to uni?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. What did you study?
Yeah, it was kind of a same situation. I was finishing school, and I thought, I actually don't really want to go to uni because I want to just do something. But since I have, my graduation right now and I can go, I maybe should do it. Yeah. Because, I've spent so much time being in school. Now I should go to uni just to, follow this path.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I knew was I didn't want to pay for it, or I did not want my parents to have to pay for it, because the same in England, you have to, depending on what you do, it's not cheap. It's expensive to study. And I thought, if I do go to uni, I want someone else to pay for it. So I was searching for scholarships, like a combination of like work education. So you work and you go to the university at the same time. And in the years when I was studying, it became kind of a big thing in Germany where you got a scholarship from big companies in specific directions. So you work for the company, you study and they pay for it. And then you kind of have to stay in the company for, let's say, 3 years.
Okay.
And near where I grew up in Hanover, there's one of the biggest companies around is Continental Tires.
All right. Yeah.
And they had like a scholarship program. I applied for it. It was called business administration. It was in English. It was not the German way how to say it.
Okay.
So I thought I was reading through it. I said, okay, I apply for it. Why not? Sounds kind of interesting, and they pay for it, and I get paid to study, so
Wow.
I got a little money for it. And nobody has to pay for me, and I don't have a loan, and I don't have to pay anything back.
Wow.
And I applied for it. They invited me. That was my first job interview ever. And I thought, it's a good training, but I won't get it. I've never done this before. And I got it.
Wow.
And then I just signed my contract. And after I signed my contract, I Googled what business administration means.
Oh,
yeah. And then, I started to study, and then I stayed within the company for 15 years.
Wow.
And I just
oh my God.
quit this year. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Follow my dreams. Yeah. Now I'm here
Crazy.
too, you know?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's cool though. It's amazing you got that opportunity.
Yeah.
Super good. Yeah.
It was a super nice time, I have to say, I mean, that was a really safe road kind of thing, but it was a good life.
Yeah.
But now I thought, I am more scared that I might look back in the future and say, shit, I should have tried, than to try it and maybe it doesn't work out. I don't know. I will find out, but I'm not as scared as to look back and I think I should have done it, but I don't have any time anymore.
Yeah.
So I just took the decision this year.
Wow.
Yeah, and now I'm here and we're recording a podcast.
Yeah. Wow.
This is something totally different than I did before.
I think it's you say like it's the safe road, but it's not. It's also like a risk, and you took it and did it, and it's a
I mean, it's a risk in itself to not try anything else.
And that's it. Yeah. And switching as well. It's a nice revitalizing. moment.
Oh yeah. You feel yourself again.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Life is very exciting now.
Yeah.
Different. It was exciting before, but it's now completely different.
And that's what's nice. Like, again, if they pitch like that, you can do something 15 years and then you can just completely do something new. I mean, there's no rules really to life. I mean, there's the law, but we don't really want to break the law anyway. So it's like, we just want to have a better play of it.
We don't get a life out of this life. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Get out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, trying something new is always revitalizing, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like, man, I had this analogy of trying something new. I want to tell it to you because I was talking about it the other day. Have you read the book? It's called The Art of Learning.
Yeah.
You have? There we go.
Yeah.
In that book, so for the people listening, pretty much the guy that wrote the book is like a chess grandmaster.
Yeah, it is.
Jonathan Waitskin?
Yeah, Waitskin, yeah.
And he
Josh Waitskin.
grew up, Josh Waitskin.
Yeah.
And he like grew up playing chess from like being like 5 or something. Became like a grandmaster, and then he became a champion, like push hands.
It's Chinese Wing Chun. I think he's the only guy who has like a title, a world champion title in different disciplines.
Ah, okay.
So chess and Chinese, I think it's Wing Chun, Kung Fu.
Okay.
Or push hands.
Something like that. But he's some martial artist.
Yeah.
And he does he's been like a chess grandmaster, and he does like various other things that he's really
good
at.
And now he's one of the he's super focused on wing foiling and surfing.
Yeah, I saw that. And like investing and stuff like that. So he's like really good at lots of things.
Yeah.
And the book is about how to get better at learning, the art of learning. And in the book, it's such like a nice metaphor. I'm probably going to butcher it, but like he talks about when you're learning something new, how vulnerable you are and how like stupid you can feel. You know, I feel it like when I play a new song or I try and do something out of my comfort zone musically or just in anything, trying to learn a new language. Yeah. You have to be like willing to look stupid and be vulnerable. And his analogy is this, there's like this certain type of crab. I don't know if you remember this bit in the book, but he says like there's this crab or like sort of crayfish thing that finds its shell in the wild.
Yeah.
And then it grows to fit the shell. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
But to get bigger, to get into a bigger shell and to grow into a bigger animal, it has to leave the shell and find a bigger one. But when it leaves in its intermediate stage of growing into a bigger shell, he has to be the soft, like the inside of a crab, this vulnerable, like soft, which can be eaten by prey. It's weak and he needs to leave his shell, his comfort, his structure, and then go looking for this bigger shell. And then he grows into that. And then when he outgrows that, he needs to go and be vulnerable again. And it's that vulnerability of like looking stupid or being bad at the thing, being a beginner, that literally is doing that over and over. To grow, you have to be vulnerable. And I love that. Like I think about that a lot. When I think about like doing something new, when I think about back to running past Rock Island, I could play music and sing and stuff. I was really bad at like talking on the microphone. I was just so nervous. whenever I spoke on the mic, I felt completely stupid, felt vulnerable. I felt like, you know, you're just in your head and you just can't think. And then I think back and think, wow, like I was that soft animal then, looking stupid. And it probably wasn't as bad as I imagined, you know what I mean? But in your own head, you're like, oh my God, I'm an idiot, I'm stupid. And then you do it enough times that you find that shell and you're comfortable.
That's growth.
Growth, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I just thought it was a cool analogy. I love that
It
analogy.
absolutely is.
Yeah.
I mean, this is describing a lot of what you've been, you know, just telling me about your life. I mean, imagine you would have just said, just don't worry, just go, just peeking your head in, and you just did not take that shot.
Yeah. I don't know what would happen. Yeah, might be
maybe back in the UK.
In the UK.
Just studying math.
Yeah, studying maths. I might be an accountant.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'd still enjoy being an accountant. I've got some weird thing with maths. Even now, like, I'm looking into this. This is such a boring. I bet so many people clicked off now. Let's talk about accounting. No, but I do really like maths. That's all I want to say.
I mean, do you think there's similarities between music and math?
I do. Yeah, I think the way I see it is like the patterns.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm quite good with patterns. You know, there's those things, there's questions where they've got like a few numbers and they're like, how are they linked? And it's like you times that one by 2 and add 2 and it gets, I don't know if you know what I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's kind of like a lot of that in music, like there's structures and patterns.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought. When I was reading that you're interested in math and you're a musician, for me it's fitting.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in school, our music teacher was our math teacher as well.
Okay.
He was trying to, because it was the same class, and he was trying to show us like the patterns in music.
Yeah.
That you don't have to feel music, but there's a pattern in it if you can just logically understand it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I never thought about music in this way before he was showing it to us. And as I was reading a little bit of your story,
you put that together.
Yeah, that could be maybe these things as well.
Yeah. It's weird though, because the type of music I play, like the more like folk and pop and singer-songwriter, has less maths than like classical or jazz would have. That is like very mathematical if you want to look at it through that lens. And I think there's probably a lot of musicians that do it from feel, but a lot of musicians that do it very left brain, mathematical. But that's something I would like to get into because that does satisfy the maths area and stuff.
So you are from Brighton in the UK,
yeah.
Is that right? This is South England?
South, yeah.
At the coast, right?
Mm-hmm. Have you not been? No.
I have not been. Okay. I've been to Scotland and Newcastle before.
Okay.
So up north, a little bit more, and then Ireland, which is left of it, but haven't been to South England. Not yet.
Yeah. It's nice, man. Brighton's, in the summer, it's like lovely. It's just the rest of the year that it's just bad weather and stuff. But because it's a beach town, and because a lot of people, it's quite close to London, so a lot of people come down from London to go to the beach on a nice day.
Okay.
It's really buzzing and it's a cool place. Like, I definitely recommend going in like July, August, September. Really good.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, just a shame about the weather the rest of the year. Like Germany, like
Northern Europe.
Yeah,
it's what it is.
And I think it affects some people more than others, but me, like, I get it for me, man.
Same for me.
Yeah,
I can totally understand. Yeah. So you grew up at the coastline.
Yeah.
And now you're still on the island. So the ocean is
definitely a big part of
your.
Yeah. I was actually speaking to this with Becky, my girlfriend, because she loves the forest and the green. Mm-hmm. Here there's not much green, so she always wants to like see the green and get around. And that feeling she has in the green, I think, is the feeling I have when I'm by the sea.
Yeah.
I just feel like relaxed and I feel at home. And if I go to a place away from the coast, I really feel it. I definitely feel it. And I've always been near the sea, like minutes.
For sure, it's different.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
Compared to here, did you? I mean, when did you start playing music or getting into it?
So I started when I was about 12, 13.
Mm-hmm.
That was like, I've always been into music, but I started singing with my friend. We were like busking, so I'd like sing and he'd play guitar. And we were like 13.
Okay, cool.
I don't know how it happened, but one day he was like, "Oh, let's go play in the street." And again, I was really nervous, but we did it, and we actually like made decent money. And at that age, like making like £80 or something, like between us, you're like, if you got like £40, that's like, you're like a millionaire. When you're 13, you make £40, like your mind's blown. So I was hooked from then. We'd go out every Saturday and play on the street, and pretty much it was like, not Brighton, but there's a small town next to it called Seaford.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where my family live now. And we'd go in this small town on a Saturday because it was the only day that was busy enough to go. And every Saturday we'd go, and then he
Playing on
told
the
me,
streets.
yeah, on the
Okay.
on the like high street of this little town, and all like the people would, they would get to know us and give us like £1 or whatever. And I just sang, and after like a year or so playing with him, he taught me a few chords on the guitar, and then I'd go on like YouTube and learn like Wonderwall and like,
Okay.
and then kind of got hooked on the guitar and started busking by myself as well. And it was really like busking was my start to music. Um, and that was essentially how I learned. I didn't study at school or anything. Like I didn't connect with the music teacher I had at school, and never really got into it because of that. I just liked playing, and I liked being on the street playing, and there was that, fun. Earning 40 quid as a 13-year-old was like, oh my God, I'm rich. So it was like a business really,
Yeah, I see.
Yeah. But that was the start, busking, and my friend teaching me some chords and stuff. And then
Nice. Did you already start writing your own songs, or were you just playing other songs?
so I had another friend who was also really good at guitar, and he was really good, especially for our age, thinking back. And we used to write songs together, and we'd go to a few like open mics and play them, and it got quite good response. Like, I always felt like I enjoyed writing music, and I always felt like it came quite easy to like write something and come up with an idea. I really loved that side of it. I also love playing covers and stuff, but I love writing music. And I was kind of like hooked on that as well. I'm writing songs and trying to make ones that people would like at the open mic, and then writing things that, expressing myself through music and stuff. And yeah, started writing then.
Did the like change of your living situation back to this coming to this island change the way you approach writing songs compared to being back in Brighton?
I think songs like Island Life,
Oh, for sure.
things like that,
Yeah,
then
sure.
definitely. Approach wise, not really. I've always had an inspiration, whether that's a word or the title or the concept, like As the Sun Sets, something emotional. And then it sort of just, the songs that I like the most have always just like almost come out of nowhere. They just sort of,
Only the lyrics or
everything at once.
everything at once?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And it feels like sometimes, and I've heard other people say this, and it's probably the same with a lot of different arts. It almost feels like it's not mine sometimes because it comes so easy, like that it's like, wow, was that even like me?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It just happens.
It's too easy. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like too easy. Like I should have
It's
had to
already
work for
there.
that. And other times,
who put it in there?
yeah, who did
Yeah,
this?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it just, honestly, like as quick as you could write it, it happens.
Wow.
And then I look back and I'm like, wow, I really like that. And it feels exactly what I'm feeling. And I think that's good words and good melody and everything. And it's just done. But other songs, I spent hours trying to get it right, and hours and fixing it and changing the words and changing everything. And then it's like really difficult. And sometimes I like those songs, but they're never my favorites. They're never the ones that really come from the heart. Like I say, As the Sun Sets. As the Sun Sets took as long to write as it did to sing once. Like it takes, honestly, just in one, like flow. And a lot of songs are like that. Like they just happen,
Yeah.
And it sounds like stupid, like woo woo, but it does.
No, it
I'm not
doesn't.
trying to be like, oh, I'm just like, it's just God moving through me, No, but it just honestly just feels like that. It feels not like God.
So
It feels
just a
like
part coming, like part of you just coming out.
just coming out. Yeah. Just, yeah.
Cool.
And it's
Expressing yourself through music then.
I guess so. Yeah. It's frustrating sometimes when you want to. I think that's the thing, like letting go and having the thing happen. People say sometimes it's a bit like fishing for the idea. Like you could sit there for hours and nothing comes. And some days, like you might be putting it out and reeling them in, and they just keep coming.
Yeah.
And sometimes you've got to come up with a verse or a chorus, and the whole song flowed, but there's one verse that you need to finish. It's just not coming. But you sit there with your fishing line, and it suddenly comes, and you get it. And that's literally what it feels like. That's the best way to put it. Yeah. Have you experienced that? I don't know if you.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it just something is just. I wrote a book, a little one, just for the company I was working for, and I knew that I will leave. I was in a team, and I really like all of my colleagues, and my boss are super special people to me. And I was always into this kind of health stuff. trying to figure out the healthiest way for myself. And as soon as I figured something out that really worked for me, I tried to show it to other people that I think who might like it. And I did this for my team all the time. And I was here on the island exactly a year ago. It was mid of November.
Okay.
I was here at a friend's farm down at the south, and I was living in a caravan. And I woke up at 6 a.m, just like that. I had the book title in my head, and I had all the chapters that I wanted to write about.
Wow.
I just woke up and I could see it. It
Yeah.
was just kind of like I was closing my eyes, I could see the book, and I just was opening it up,
Yeah.
and I saw like all the chapters.
Wow.
And then I took a piece of paper and a pen, and I just wrote it down as fast as I could because I was afraid I will forget it.
Yeah.
And that was the construct for my book. And 3 weeks later was almost done.
Wow.
I started to write it at the same day.
Damn.
And I totally understand.
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
I was sleeping, and I woke up and I could see the book in front of my eyes.
Wow. Yeah, that's it. That's what it is.
I
Just like,
think that's
and then it doesn't
maybe the
feel
same
like
feeling.
fair. 'Cause you're like, God, I should
No,
have
it's
thought
just-
about this a little bit, or like worked on it, and it
It just came out of my head.
yeah, literally.
Boom, there it was.
Yeah.
And it
It's cool.
felt super easy to write it down because it was just there.
Yeah, you've got the structure and it's
Yeah.
all in order. Wow. Yeah, it's fascinating. And I think it is just like your subconscious expressing all these ideas and feelings and things you have just
Yeah.
coming out. But it does sometimes feel like something spiritual because like, wow, just happened like this. And it is expressive for that reason. And it's like,
Yeah. It feels right. It feels
Yeah.
real.
yeah,
For sure, yeah.
definitely. So your like history with like health stuff, because obviously doing the breath work and everything.
Mhm.
How did you get into, have you always been into health and stuff like that? And
I've always been interested in it.
Yeah.
For sure. I think I grew up with it. My mom, she's really into health. She always had a history with some like illnesses a little bit,
okay.
and she's very educated about it. And I think maybe that's why my interest initially started. And I do remember that I got a book who actually the author is the best friend of Josh Whiteskin.
No way.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's Tim Ferriss.
Which
And
book is it?
it's
4 Hour Work
the-
Week?
the
No,
four-
the 4 Hour Body.
The 4 Body.
Yeah, okay.
I got it for my 25th birthday
Okay.
from a really good friend. And I opened up the book and I read it from first to the last page, and I tried everything in that book.
Wow. No way.
And I tried a lot of stuff, and most of the stuff just worked right away. And then I thought about, wow, I have to kind of
Fuck.
maybe just write about it. And then I started my a website with the same title as my podcast right now.
Okay.
And that was the idea initially started everything.
Cool.
And yeah, I was in there, and I was always just next to my job. I don't know, coaching people, doing stuff, testing something out, getting
Nice,
a
man.
trainer's license in something. And
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
yeah, it
Dude,
was-
Tim Ferriss, like one of my favorite people. In
Really?
The world. Yeah, man. I read the 4 Hour Work Week. I
It
bought
changed
it.
my
It
life.
changed my life, honestly. I'm not joking.
Wow.
I actually think, like, obviously what I'm doing now is not anything to do with 4 Hour Work Week because it's all like online and stuff like that. But it's still the concepts and the way of thinking and the
Exactly.
really
I
digital.
couldn't sit at work and just work for work's sake
Uh-huh.
after I read the book.
Yeah.
I was like, this has to be like, there must be a way to do this faster so I can save up time to do something much more important
Yeah.
for myself.
Did Tim Ferriss. I literally sent Becky something yesterday of Tim Ferriss because we were talking, I can't remember what it was. It was we were talking about something and then it came up on my Instagram. He was talking about the same thing and he just put it like way better than I did. And I was like, that's what I wanted to say. But yeah, Tim Ferriss, fuck, best.
Yeah.
Best.
That's,
Wow.
I started with a 4 Hour Body, and
Okay.
I was so impressed by the book that I then bought myself the 4 Hour Work Week.
Uh-huh.
And then it changed my complete approach about work.
Yeah.
And I tried to, as I did with the 4 Hour Body, I tried to use every approach in the book just right away in my working field.
Uh-huh.
And it worked.
Wow.
That was super strange to see.
Wow.
And from that point on, I think there was no way back.
Yeah.
And I knew I had to do something on my own from a certain point, which
Mhm.
is now.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm
Applying
right
the
now. I think
principles now.
exactly. I don't
Yeah.
know where I would be without like this book coming into my hand.
Yeah. Wow.
Certain
So
point.
cool, man. It's nice that
Yeah,
that you had a similar experience because, yeah. And then, what else you got? Tools of Titans.
Tools of Titans. He has the 4 Hour Chef. Tribe of Mentors.
Okay, yeah.
Tribe of Mentors
Similar
as well.
to the...
Yeah. The
Wow.
4-Hour Chef.
Have you read that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, is it good?
It's extremely good.
Wow.
So because I love the idea of using the vehicle of cooking to show people how to learn something.
Yeah.
I mean, if you use the book, you're gonna cook really nice meals.
Mm-hmm.
But every meal has a different approach on how to learn how to cook it.
Okay.
And this approach in itself, you can take to learn anything else.
Yeah, it's like the 4-hour work week in that way. Like, yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. Man, he's so cool. And I love the way he writes. Like the 4-hour work week, the way it's written, like the opening thing, he's like about to do that dancing, flamenco dancing or something.
Tango.
God, it's like,
tango,
I was like enticed, and then he's like talking about like Sky. It really gets you, and it's potent. Like, and he's a marketer. Like, that's his trade.
He's a genius.
So good. So good.
I mean, I think, the podcast thing. And,
well, he's like the original.
I have
one of the
to admit,
original.
he produced a podcast a couple of years ago where he, it's just a session with himself, and he's just trying to explain how to make a podcast on your own.
Okay.
And his approach and everything that worked for him. And I had the idea to start the podcast here on the island. And I was sitting in the plane flying here, listening to that podcast and writing the transcript from everything that he was saying about how to make a podcast. And it's exactly how I approached to make this podcast.
Wow. There you go.
Yeah.
Nice. If you ask Becky, like, say who's Harry's favorite person in the world? No, not favorite person, but who's Harry like bang on about? She might not see, might say someone else, but Tim Ferriss would come up pretty soon. We always joke about it, because I'm always like, you got to read this about Tim Ferriss. Yeah.
That's interesting. I know that he's about to write a new book now.
Oh, right. Sweet.
I'm really curious about it.
Cool. Yeah.
He said, I think he's co-writing it with someone else.
Okay.
It's going to be a different approach than what we are used to.
Yeah.
It's going to be exciting.
I love his stuff on fear setting.
Mm-hmm.
And this probably relates to a lot of the breathwork stuff that you do, because that's sort of like managing your mood and stuff. But like, I'm a person that's more, anxious, let's say, like more, probably like a good thing and a bad thing, because I want to get things done and do things and stuff. I mean, yeah, it can be lazy too. But in general, I'm, more that way inclined. But it also comes with like worrying or like catastrophizing about things, and just what if that happens, and he's got that great thing. I mean, again, the 4-hour work week has a big part of that. Like, what if I start a business and it goes wrong, blah blah blah. The whole fear setting, like, what's the worst thing that could happen? If this did happen, how could I get back? And going through that process, like really. And morning, I don't know if you do morning pages or like, how do you do it? You seem like the guy.
I did. Okay. I'm not doing it right now. I even have the morning pages book at home.
Oh wow, okay.
So
that's hardcore.
Yeah.
So I started doing it. I'd seen Tim Ferriss write about it. I didn't do it then, but Becky does it. She was saying it's really good, and like when I say like anxious, it's not like off the charts. Like, I wouldn't say I have anxiety, but I'd say like I have tendencies of being more anxious. And the morning pages really helps. And it's like,
it gets stuff out of your head.
Yeah.
As soon as it's out of your head, they are not that fearful anymore.
And they don't, for me, it's like they're tangible. Because I don't know if it's the same as the book one, but pretty much, like, I guess for people listening, morning pages are like with this, what I do anyway, I write down for 2 minutes, and it could be anything. It could be like good things, bad things, could be just like rubbish. Could be things I'm worried about, could be things I'm excited about, grateful for, anything, whatever comes to mind. And I do 2 pages. I think Becky does 3, but literally 2 pages, and then I rip it up, and that's it. I think maybe the booklet is something different. Maybe you have kind of different tasks. Okay.
So there's the specific task for that day, but it's kind of
like, what if I could do one thing that would make this day?
Yeah. Okay. It's ramping up. Like every day is a little bit different.
Okay.
With a specific approach to work towards something.
Okay, fair play. I kind of wanted to do it where there was like it's like almost just therapy, like there's no goal. It's just like, I just need to do it. Yeah. Just that's it. The goal is just 2 pages. It helps so much because I write down things I'm stressed about or need to do, worried, and then rip it up, and it's like, and I sort of like come to terms with it myself, because I watch it, I'll do it and be like, that's not even a big thing, or that's not even going to happen. Like, that's me just being stupid, catastrophizing about the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even realistic. And I look at it on the paper and like, wow, this is really going through your head. But when it's not, and it's just going through my head, it's like in a cycle, what if that happens? What if that happens? And then it goes and I'm like, no, it's stupid. And then 5 minutes later, what if that thing happens? And it's the feeling like in my stomach, like anxiety, I guess.
Yeah.
But writing it out, ripping it up, it's like, that's
Yeah, you
gone.
faced your fear. You've looked it in the eye, and you realized it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. Yeah.
And then it's gone.
Yeah.
That's the approach, at least.
Really,
Yeah,
really
it's
good.
Really good.
Yeah.
It's really helpful.
You see, I don't know if you saw maybe I got rid of it before you came. There was a notepad and a pen here because that was like from the morning pages that I did this morning. Cause,
No, I didn't see it, but
okay, yeah. But, yeah. So that's
a cool approach. He has a podcast episode. I think he's talking with Rich Branson.
Oh yeah.
And his books, Finding My Virginity, I think.
Yeah.
His approach is always saving up the downside. So everything that he does, he has an idea and he sees, okay, that's my idea. What's the worst thing that can happen?
Mm-hmm.
He takes it, he looks it in the eye, he just writes it down or whatever. He makes it visible for himself, and then he does something so that the worst thing can't happen anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're not afraid anymore to go for it.
Okay.
And that's the approach they were talking about. This goes in this direction, and I really like that.
Yeah.
So save the downside, whatever you want to do, and then you don't have that fear anymore.
Yeah, and that's part, I guess, the fear setting thing of like okay, we could use it for like making music, and I've done this literally. So like, what if I spend hours like writing songs, releasing them, and then nothing happens, no one really cares, and that, I mean, that still wouldn't be a bad thing because, like you said before about like knowing you tried, sort of thing. I would know that I've tried. I'd know that music is out there and in the world, and if it didn't, no one cared about it, and it was rubbish, and everyone was like, "Harry, you're shit." Sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear. If everyone was like, Harry, you're rubbish.
Do whatever you want.
You can't write songs, you're rubbish, you can't sing. At least I know I tried, and I haven't got the thought of like, oh my God, like what if I did and it was really good and everyone loved it, and I would know. And that's enough to do it. And also the learning of doing it and the learning of all the skills it takes to do it. I'd get better at all those things and just feel good that I did them. And at the end of the day, a lot of the music's just for me anyway. So like that's the thing that I've used it for, literally.
Yeah.
And I guess it applies to like now, like you're saying, like with the podcast and stuff, it's like,
For sure.
What's the worst that can happen? Even that's not a bad thing. Even that's a good thing. But before you think through it, you think, oh, that would be so bad. And it, realistically, it would be a bit bad, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. Like it's not as bad as you think it would be.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's that part in 4 Hour Work. This is like super niche podcast topic, like fangirling over Tim Ferriss.
Perfect. Yeah.
Like people did not click on this to hear about this, but there's this bit he's talking about like, what if he talks about like, what if he left this business and went traveling or something?
Mm-hmm.
And I've done that like here, this because of 4 Hour Work Week. But he says like, I'll probably like land in England. It'll be raining. Then I'll get ill. He's like, then I'll get bitten in the face by a dog on the street. Like he says, like ridiculous things, but they are ridiculous. But that's what you think. Like when you're catastrophized, you think of the most random thing that could happen. And then someone's going to start a fight with me, and then I'm going to be lost in the middle of nowhere. My phone's going to break, and like, this is not going to happen. Like, calm down. This is super random. You might as well be struck by lightning before this happens. So, no, I love it. I love these tools to.
Have you ever read a book from Tony Robbins?
Yeah, I've got a couple in there.
Okay, yeah. So I was pretty sure that you say yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm rereading Awaken the Giant Within right now. Because
I think I've got that one in there. Yeah,
I thought it's pretty fitting to my current life situation.
For sure, yeah.
And doing like what I should start doing it again, but it's super potent, super helpful. In the morning, just manifesting for a couple minutes. Just really trying to get into the future that you want to build and trying to imagine yourself already being there and feeling it.
Yeah.
And then it creates a natural gravitation to pull you. It's kind of a law of attraction.
Yeah.
So the law of attraction, this is something I'm digging a little bit as well. So you have to become the person that the law of attraction wants to attract. Not the law of attraction, but the universe wants to attract you, because you have to become that person first. Yeah. To be able to be in the future that you imagine. Yeah.
Like the energies. I mean, we don't know how energies work and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I was speaking because I'm getting like lessons from a music. I've never studied like I say, like sheet music, stuff like that. And I'm getting lessons on music now. And he was talking about like how music has these patterns. And the thing with law of attraction is, I think it's sort of like marketed as some like spiritual thing where you will just attract what you want. But I think there is a lot in it of like
For
just
sure.
practical. Man, I'll tell you something. Law of attraction happened to me. I used to do that manifesting thing, yeah. And one day I was like 16 or something. I can't remember how old, maybe a bit older, but I didn't have any money, and I really needed I can't remember what it's for, but I needed £100. I needed £100 for something, and I was literally like sitting on the floor in my bedroom. Like I never do this. I never like wish for like money and like law of attraction, but I needed this money for whatever reason. I can't remember, but I was like, I need this £100. Like, and this is like legit what happened. Had my eyes closed, visualizing having this £100 in my hand, you know?
Yeah.
I promise you, I open my eyes and then a mirror's in front of me, and I see in like these cupboards above my bed, there's like a little envelope sticking out. My eyes landed on it when I opened my eyes. I didn't know about this, at least consciously, I didn't know about this envelope. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go and open that envelope. This was not planned, nothing, random. And I looked in this envelope and it was a Christmas card. And it was like the Christmas money I got like from like 2 years ago or something from like my auntie, my nan and my mum. There was like £100 in there.
See? Okay.
And it was exactly £100. And I was like, blew my mind. I was like, my God, this thing. But then I tried more things after and they didn't work. But I think what that shows potentially, it could have been random, but it also could have been, I knew on some level 2 years ago, I put that there and thought, I'll pick that up later. And I forgot. And because I was focusing on this thing, my brain maybe made the connection. You do have £100.
Could be.
And your eyes go there and go, you have to look at the bottom of your bed because there's £100. You know, like subconsciously, and that can happen on a lot of different levels.
Oh,
subconsciously, you know that, you know, there's maybe I know there's live music down there and I'm going to go running past it. And maybe they're going to, you know, like if you visualize these things, you do maybe create opportunities and your brain figures things out.
Just the story. I was talking to Tony yesterday.
Tony Robbins?
No, not Tony Robbins. No, not yet.
Yeah.
No, to Tony,
he was on the podcast yesterday.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. No, Tony, a mutual friend, the saxophone player, and he told me that, I think last week, they had a gig. He was playing with random people, never played before. Just, you know, went up stage.
Yeah.
They were all playing together and they didn't know each other, but they were like vibing really well.
Uh-huh.
And they played Cocaine from Eric Clapton.
Yeah.
And it was really, really, really good.
Yeah.
And there was a guy in the audience coming up to Tony and he said, for how long have you guys been practicing this? He said, we've never seen each other before.
Yeah.
That was the first time. We don't know each other. And he said, you can't be serious. That was so good.
Yeah.
You took a video of that. You send it to Eric Clapton because he's in the management team of Eric Clapton.
Well, yeah.
And he just sent back a thumbs up.
Eric
was
Clapton
just like Eric Clapton did that.
Wow.
Yeah. No joke. I was sitting on the rooftop at the house next to Tony and I was trying this manifesting thing the second day in a row.
Okay.
And the task was 2 minutes. You think about 3 people you're grateful for that day in your life.
Yeah.
That's the first 2 minutes. The second 2 minutes is you pray for 3 important people in your life. The third 2 minutes, you think about something that you're grateful for already being in your life. And the last 2 minutes, you imagine yourself living the life you want to live, and you try to be really there in the future and just getting the feeling of having done it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my, very German, I had my stopwatch.
Yeah.
Set to 2 minutes.
Okay.
2 minutes.
Just in case you did like an extra second.
Exactly. I closed my eyes. I did the imaginary work. 2 minutes ran down. I had the special like ringtone.
Yeah.
Okay. Next 2 minutes on. And the last 2 minutes were starting and I was trying to imagine myself in the future with some stuff, like living some stuff that I already achieved. And I was thinking about something very specific.
Okay.
And then I opened my eyes 4 seconds before the stopwatch was running down. And I was expecting, like only 4 seconds I opened my eyes, I was expecting the normal tone to ring, the stopwatch tone that I put in my phone.
Yeah.
And it was 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. My phone rang. And
no way.
That was the guy telling me that I am about to do something what I was imagining.
No way.
Yeah.
You're joking.
No.
That's crazy.
I was just running around with my phone and my girlfriend was like, he's gone crazy. Now it's done. Now it's done. I was like, you don't know what just happened.
That is insane. And I do, there's enough evidence like against it. You can imagine something right now, like imagine a pigeon like flying into the wall and it's not going to happen. But like, there's also things like that sometimes things like that, so specific, like the money one for me or the phone calling. It's like, this is something in it, whether we understand it or not, which we don't understand it, I guess. But like, whether it's like, I hate the like law of attraction, you know what I mean? Like the word personally, I just, it feels like it's not understood. Like to say it's like, oh, you just need to think about it. It's not, but doing it definitely helps things happen. Like it just, well,
It feels
definitely
unreal.
maybe
Yeah.
not, but it seems like it does. Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, it feels
Really
unreal because it's so unimaginable
Yeah,
that
unbelievable.
yeah,
That it's,
unbelievable
yeah,
kind
possible.
of a simulation.
Maybe we're all just in a
Yeah,
simulation.
maybe, I don't know.
Could be that. We're just programming certain things to
Yeah.
happen. Maybe we should try it. But yeah, it's definitely useful. And I think just put yourself, like you're saying, that doing things like imagining things you're grateful for, and like you say, like praying for people or imagining good things happening to people, and imagining your future and good things happening. Even if it's just, it puts you in a good mindset, and that therefore attracts good things.
Yeah.
And you're more likely to get those good things you want, specifically because you're in a good frame of mind. That's real.
For sure.
That's real. Like you put yourself in a good mood and go out there.
I mean, that's something I've I've been surfing almost every day, and I mean the ocean is full of energy. It's like water energy.
Yeah.
Like it's measurable.
Yeah.
And every time I go into the water having a bad mood, or I'm like a bad temper, I'm really just in a bad state of mind. I the ocean just handles me like a play ball.
Really?
Yeah. And whenever I go in there and I have a really, really good feeling, I'm happy. I don't know. It sends me like nice waves and I have a good session.
Wow.
It's kind of, yeah, either I go with the flow or I go against it. And if I go against it, if I go against the energy that's in there, maybe I just get, punched around.
I guess with the nature, you gotta be in line, especially waves. I think when you're interacting throughout your daily life, and like you say, like even with the world, with the waves and with people, being grateful and being happy and all these things, being in a good mood is never going to be.
It gives you more chances in life.
Yeah. And the people that are really lucky would like walk into a cafe and they'd say hello to everyone. They'd buy someone a coffee. They'd interact, and they were kind. And because they were open and like a bit more extroverted, a bit more interactive, they'd get opportunities. Like imagine, like for example, like me as a musician, going into a bar and talking to the owner, just genuinely, and then afterwards he finds out I'm a musician. He's probably more likely to offer me a gig than a stranger that's quiet in the corner that also is a musician.
For sure.
Or even you like doing the podcast and reaching out to people. If you've got a good demeanor and you're reaching out to a lot of people, you're more likely to get people to come up.
Yeah.
It's just logical.
Yeah.
But this is why it makes sense why some people seem lucky and others don't, because they have that demeanor, they have the interacting.
They're more open for everything.
Yeah. Putting yourself out there means you make connections.
Yeah, you just said it just perfectly. You give yourself chances. So
yeah. And how many chances go by and you don't notice it? Could
exactly.
Be. Yeah.
Exactly. If you don't move, nothing will come towards you.
Yeah.
So you have to go out to get something back.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's always the case what I observe with myself. The more I give out from myself, the more I receive.
Yeah.
And if you want to achieve anything, or if you want to go anywhere, that's most probably the best way to do it.
For sure, yeah. When I first came here, so after that experience with Rock Island, playing music, I was like, I'm coming back. And then when I got back here, I went everywhere, honestly, everywhere. Places that had music, places that didn't, places that looked rough and nice, love everything. And I just said like, hey, I'm a musician in town. Here's my number. Like, if you need music, let me know. Just doing their thing. They weren't looking for anyone new. So yeah, it's a hack really. Just put yourself out there, like.
For sure.
Yeah. And
is
in that way I did
that you developed on the island, or was it there before?
I don't know if I would say that I have it in general. In that specific example, I did that. So that happened because I was like, I really want to make this work. Like I've tasted it on stage at Rock Island.
Okay.
And I was like, I really want to try and make a living making music. So I'm going to just do everything I can to be lucky.
To be seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
What do you enjoy more? Like playing live in front of people, or producing for yourself and getting some stuff out?
So I think in terms of intensity of emotion, playing live, when you have a good gig, it's really nice. Yeah, my heart's going. It's a really cool feeling to be on stage and everyone's like dancing or cheering, and it's direct, potent, and it's real. Recording music is like a bit more therapeutic, a bit more calculated. It's more permanent. So it's like, it feels good because once it's done, it's like, I've got that captured.
Yeah.
I've captured that song and I've made it. And it feels more creative and more of a process.
Okay.
And you have something tangible. Well, I don't know. Is a recording tangible? I guess it kind of is. Somewhere auditorily tangible. That's like there forever. And I think what's special about gigging is that it's not there forever. Even if you record it, you can't capture the actual moment of being there. And that's cool as well, because it's like, wow, everyone shared that moment together. And again, even if it's recorded, it's not the same as being there.
For sure.
And it's not as intense. I can't rewatch that and feel the same. And the people in the audience won't feel the same. I don't think. So it's different, but I love both. And I'm super grateful that both are in my life, because sometimes, you know, you have a good gig and it's amazing and you want to show everyone, and you can record a video and stuff, but it's never the same as being there. And it's sometimes frustrating, but at least I can record a video, or I can record a song and keep it forever. So that's nice. I like to keep it, you know,
there's so many different shapes and colors of what you can do with music.
For sure.
And you do live and you do record. And then I was just, you know, wondering, the thing is, doing a podcast, I love to sit down and now record. And then there's the work happens after that, because they're going to produce it. Which is, I think if you play a song, you play the song, but then you have to do the technical work behind.
Of course, yeah.
It can be enjoyable from time to time, and it's just work. You know, and just being on stage, I think, I imagine it to, I mean, for sure it's a job and it's taxing, kind of, if you're nervous or you never know how the audience is gonna react. You get a direct feedback of it, but you do everything at the same time.
It's just done. You walk away and you're done.
Exactly.
For sure. Apart from like the maybe business side of like handling people, but that's not much. It's not so much here, sure. Especially it's like pretty weekly here. It's like you play every Wednesday, so there's not much of that. The recording side, like the fun part, obviously like writing the song and stuff's like creative and fun, can be frustrating. Then there's like the producing, which is the finding the sounds and arranging the song, like how's that going to be there, and what instruments should we add to make the chorus bigger and stuff like that. And then there's like the engineering, they call it, like sound engineering, which is then that work part of like editing all the sounds, making them perfect. It'd be like what the podcast, like making the voice sound good and stuff, and make sure the kick drum doesn't interfere with the bass, and then you're sort of making it sound good. And that's creative in itself, but that's more like the work. That's like the cleaning. I like that as well. That's like the left brain activity.
Okay.
But sometimes you're like, oh, I can't bother. You know, like it
sometimes
can
it's just a list of tasks.
Exactly.
Still have to do.
It's a list of tasks.
Then it's really just work. But okay.
But I think like as a musician, I can't complain. Like I love this amazing job. Like if I think back to other jobs I've had, like it's obviously amazing. Like it's a dream job to have for sure.
Do you have any specific plans for the future? What you want to do now? Or is there any direction you want to head in? I mean, you just said like
just like life-wise sort of thing.
Life-wise, or even pushing more of your music and your art in the internet space, or
So I think I want to keep releasing original music consistently. In the past, I haven't done it because it's been like perfectionist thing, like that's not good enough, or that's not, you know, right and stuff. But sticking to a schedule, like this year, I've been releasing a song every 2 weeks, which is like a lot of work if you want it to sound good. And I'm thinking of going to 3 weeks, just have a bit more, be able to work a bit more on it. And also then you can promote it more, because that's a big part of it as well. So I want to release more and keep releasing original music. Even if I go, this song is not 100%, it's 80% of what I can do, I'll put it out anyway in 3 weeks. You know, just being disciplined, so I'm not a perfectionist and not delaying things. So I want to make more original music. And gigging wise, I'm very happy, but I really enjoy I'm doing more like private gigs and events and one-off gigs. I've got like 4 gigs in Lanzarote in December.
Oh wow, cool.
And they're a bit like bigger and stuff. And it's nice to have a gig where you're like chosen specifically to do this event, and then go and like travel there and do it. And
That's
it's sort of like a bit more money. The travel part. And these sort of like private events, because they're more work, you can charge a bit more, and like it feels more rewarding, because you're like, wow, you feel special, you know, because you're like, I'm traveled there, gone to another Canary Island, turned up, and then I feel like it feels nice.
For sure.
And,
I mean, and you combine another passion with it.
And the traveling.
So yeah. So you've created yourself a life from the like the single parts that you wanted to have. You weren't sure about how to make a living with it.
Yeah.
Now you're combining everything.
Definitely, yeah. It's funny because being a musician, maybe just the way I am, I'm not sure. I love tourist towns. I love being in touristic places. People always like, don't go there, it's super touristic. Like, don't go there, it's touristic. But I love like Venice or like, it's amazing. Just the buzz of like people going around. Yeah. If you live there and you are from there and it's like getting invaded with tourism, I can understand, of course, be annoying. If you want to just like visit a family, you got to queue through hundreds of tourists taking photos, it would be annoying. Sure. But the buzz of being in a town like that, most people don't like it, but I love it, and Becky loves it as well. Like, I think because you see opportunity, like, oh, there's gigs and there's work, and you can busk and play on the street, and there's people watching, and like, there's a buzz to it.
You have your audience all around.
Exactly.
So, especially if you're busking and
they're moving through. Like,
yes, for sure.
Yeah, I had someone saying this the other day. Like, instead of like going on tour, the audience are touring for you. You know, they're sort of moving around, and
you can just stay in one place, and everybody's going to see because everybody's passing by.
Of people.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's nice just having that buzz in the air. Everyone's happy. They're on holiday, and it's they're all creating memories and being around. It's a special feeling.
For sure.
Have you been to? You mentioned you've been to Ireland.
I have been to Ireland, yeah.
Or have you been around a lot? Or?
No.
Okay,
just,
I thought maybe you'd like been around the back.
No. Just like, the thing, like Dublin a couple of times and around Dublin area.
Okay.
But the breathwork stuff that I'm doing, especially from the institute that I'm learning from, or I was educated from, is Oxygen Advantage, and they're from Ireland.
Oh right, okay.
And my plan is to go there next year for sure, to be there and get to know everybody.
Cool. Are they in Dublin?
No, they're on the west coast of Ireland.
Do you know whereabouts?
It's Galway.
Is it Galway?
Yeah, it's Galway. Thank you. Yeah, it is.
That's nice, man. It's super cool area. We just been last summer in the whole of Ireland, like a camper van. Becky and I planned, and for Ireland is so cool. I think.
Yeah, I love it.
Again, the weather thing definitely exists, especially on the west coast. My God, the weather.
Scene. I mean,
but the music,
music scene and
crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy that there's so much music there. It's such a part of their culture.
Every day, almost every pub. Yep.
Really cool.
I've been there for the first time with a good friend of mine. We went to a pub. There was somebody playing just for an hour. Like they switch every hour. There's somebody else coming. He was sitting there, just mini stage. He just plugged his guitar in. He played, and we were just stunned how good he is. Then he left, and we said, "Please don't leave." And there was somebody else coming, plugged in, even better.
Wow!
And that kept on going.
Oh my God!
This, and what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Wow! It's
really cool. So
cool vibe.
So cool.
Yeah.
And it's such a cool culture. And tell you what, like Irish people really appreciate their culture and like travel around their own country, and they seem like they really are connected, especially by the music, like the traditional music, and. Someone was singing like a traditional song in the corner of a pub, and everyone starts singing it together. And I feel like we really miss that comparing it to England, where it doesn't seem like we're as connected as a culture. Okay. Like there's there's definitely a culture in England, and England's like a great place for a lot of other reasons, but Ireland really has so much soul, So I'd never been to Scotland until we did like that trip around the UK.
Scotland is so beautiful.
So beautiful.
It was like walking through a James Bond movie all the time.
Yeah.
Like seeing, wow.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't know, and it was like mind blowing. Yeah. Mountains.
Absolutely beautiful.
Wow.
Stunning landscape.
And Edinburgh. My God. I'm not like, I like to be around, like we were talking about Seville before the podcast. It's nice to be around like beautiful architecture, but I'm not like into it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like a fanatic but being in Edinburgh was like, you're just transported to like, you feel like you're in a film like Lord of the Rings or something. Like
exactly.
Big castle on a hill.
In the middle of the city, you just feel like being in a movie.
Really. And the Royal Mile up there.
Yeah. Like, and the Scottish people are kind of really special.
They are. They're so funny.
Yeah.
And they're super kind. They're way more open, I think. Like they're really
super sarcastic. I love that.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
Yeah. No, it's great. Scotland, again, if it had good weather, that would be like the best place in the world. But it doesn't. Scotland, fix your weather. No, it's great. Did you walk through like Glencoe?
Yeah, Glencoe, yeah.
There's the mountains there. Like, wow. Yeah. It's really cool.
Funny side note, when I came back, We were three guys, and one of them, it was his birthday a couple of weeks later, and I was searching in the internet for a nice gift, and then I stumbled upon a site where you can buy yourself a piece of land in Glencoe.
Wow.
It's just it's a natural park. It belongs to someone, I don't know, and you can buy land officially with a certificate that it's your land. It's like as big as a paper page
Okay. Yeah.
thing, like super small.
Yeah.
But in the Scottish law, it's you buy this land, and then you're the owner of Scottish land, and this is why you can have a title as a lord or a
No
lady
way.
officially.
No way.
Yeah, and it's just 30, 40 bucks, and I bought our, every one of us is a lord of
Lord.
Glencoe now,
Lord
like
of
with a
Glencoe.
certificate.
Oh, that's so cool. Wow. Oh, that's cool.
The only thing you have to do is you have to sign that you will not do anything with the land. So it's more or less it's a marketing thing. They want to just save the natural.
Can't build like a mini house on the
Yeah,
land.
like a tiny Barbie house or
Yeah.
something. Yeah,
Just a big pink
then
house.
you can buy a lot more country if you want.
Yeah.
But the only thing is it's a natural park, and they want to make sure that nobody is able to destroy the landscape with like houses or something.
Yeah.
So there's like a couple million people now owning like small
Wow.
pieces of the country.
So you own a bit of Scotland, got some property in Scotland,
Yeah,
got a little bit of land.
I'm a lord.
Yeah, I'm a lord actually.
Scottish lord. Yeah.
You said it like a British, with an English accent.
Yeah.
I'm a lord.
I'm a lord.
You're like, I'm a lord. Sometimes the Scottish and Irish, like strong accents, I can't understand either. Like, I imagine it must be hard. Like, I mean, it's probably equally as hard as it is for me, but it's like, actually, it happened once. Feel a bit bad about this. I don't know if this is socially acceptable. I might get cancelled for this, but I was playing at Rock Cafe, and this guy came up to me after the gig and was like trying to say something to me. And I promise you, I said to him, "I'm sorry, I don't speak German." And he's like, "I'm Scottish." I understood that, but I didn't understand anything. I thought he was speaking German. I was like, I didn't understand anything.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I have a couple more questions for you.
Okay.
Just actually two more. For everything that you just said, I mean, you definitely have chosen the path of following your passion, which is super cool. And a lot of people, I think, are just afraid to do it. And do you just have maybe a little advice for anyone who is afraid to follow their passion?
Yeah. I think, I don't know, the way it happened to me was very, you could say lucky, but then it's that luck factor thing of maybe putting yourself out there. So if you have got a passion and you want to do it and you're not maybe able to make a living from it or do it as much as you like, the advice would be to like put it out there as much as you can, even if you don't feel ready. I think we often hold ourselves back so we don't feel ready. I didn't feel ready when I started gigging. I definitely didn't. I always don't feel ready for new things that I want to do, but I think I've learned that you have to do it even though you don't feel ready. So if you're holding yourself back because you don't feel like you're good enough, or you haven't got enough experience, or you're just not the type of person that can do that, it's probably not true. You're probably just holding yourself back. So do it anyway and see what happens. It's not the end of the world. If people say it's not good or no one cares, it's going to be okay. And if it's not going to be okay, if it's like, I want to open a business, I need to invest loads of money into it, there could be serious consequences following a passion. It could cost a lot of money. It could be dangerous. It could be, I think, like, look at it logically. And like you said, like, try to look, how can I cap the downside of this happening? How can I make this thing into a good thing, into a learning experience? And then do it. If you do feel like after analyzing it that it's a good decision, or it's risky but it could pay off. I think like we also mentioned earlier, knowing that doing it, even if it fails, means you can move past it. Coming to terms with that and thinking about that is useful as well, because it's possible that it doesn't work. It would have been possible that I came in and I didn't do music, and it's possible that I released my music now it doesn't work. But coming to terms with the worst case scenario of it's not going to work, you can always come back to your old life, find a way back to that, and try again. Like, you can. There's always going to be a certain safety net and stuff. Obviously, it depends on the situation, but in general, normally it's okay. It's not as bad as we make in our heads. So take the risk.
Take the risk.
Take the risk.
Yeah.
Fear
setting.
Yeah, fear setting. See if the risk, you can take the downside out of it, and don't do something completely outrageously stupid, and they're probably fine. They'll probably be okay.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I have a tradition, a little tradition in the podcast. Not that old, the podcast, but I already have a tradition. The tradition is that the last question that I ask my guest is not the question that's coming from me. It's the last question from my last guest.
For the next guest.
For the next guest.
Let's go.
So not knowing who it's going to be.
Okay. Oh, I'm nervous now.
The last question for you now, it's not really a question. So my last guest, he's from the island. He's German born, but he came here as a baby, I think.
Okay, wow.
He's a professional surfer, and he has a surf school in the south.
Okay.
He's a fun guy. So hence the question or the offer. Do you have anything to do with surfing?
I've done surfing a few times, but I wouldn't say like I'm a surfer by any means.
Okay.
And I did a little bit of windsurfing.
Okay.
Is this the actual question? Or
No.
Okay.
Just the lead up.
Okay.
The lead up to it.
So a little bit.
Okay, a little.
But I would think for Fuerteventura,
okay,
less than I should have. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, it depends on what you want to do.
Yeah,
Sure,
course,
if you're not that passionate about it, it's totally fine. But the thing is, that's why I'm asking. He said, whoever is going to be my next guest, not knowing if it's a he or a she, he would find it funny to offer my next guest, which is you in this case, if you go surfing naked for one time, just out of fun, he would offer like for free surf lessons.
Wow.
And he's just asking if you would be up for it. Not knowing that it's you, you know?
Does he have to be there? He's not going to like have binoculars.
He said, you know, time and date.
He said time and day. Free in my recording equipment. Yeah, I wouldn't. I think, as long as I'm not going to get like arrested or something. Can you do it? Can you do it?
Yeah.
Is it like, am I going to get like, maybe there's like a nudist beach? I'll do my research and then contact him.
All right.
Yeah.
So I will let.
But it's
I will
a
let
possibility.
him know.
I'd do it if I'm not going to get like arrested for like flashing like a.
He's gonna love that answer.
Elderly person or something like on the beach, just trying to enjoy their holiday.
Yeah.
And I ruin or make their day. Who knows?
Or
maybe I make their day.
Maybe that was his original idea behind it. So, like especially in the south, like at the German places, so many naked people running around.
Exactly.
Like the beaches.
Yeah.
It's so fun to see somebody surfing naked. But I will let him know.
Let him know that it's on the cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'll get a lesson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That'd be cool.
All right, man. So thanks for the answer. And now it's
I need a question.
You can, if you want, put a question out there, not knowing who's going to be my next guest.
What's a good question? God, this caught me off guard, the question thing. I know I could come up with like something, but I want to come up with something good. But now there's pressure to come up with something good. And now I'm like, God, that's not good enough. You know, you can see my indecisive perfectionist.
I can totally understand that. Yeah, for sure. But don't pressure yourself too much.
Okay.
Can be just a simple question.
I've got loads of like generic ones, like if you get a superpower, it'd be, it's boring. What's something good? What other questions have you had?
The question that he had to answer is how would you define personal luck?
Well, there we go. Kind of on brand of today's talk. That's a good question. What's one that's relevant to today?
To today? I would ask myself, what would Tim Ferriss ask now?
Okay, I got one. What's the luckiest moment of your life?
Damn.
That's a good one. I think.
So we have it.
What was the luckiest thing that happened to you?
Okay, perfect.
Cool.
Got it.
Yes.
Thank you, man.
Nice, man. It's been really good. Thank you.
Man, that's been super fun.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I feel like I could just talk forever, man.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really good.
Yeah.
About Tim Ferriss, obviously.
Yeah. The fun stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, thank you for having me here at your home.
No worries, man.
It's such a pleasure to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, man. You too. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Can't wait to hear more music of yours.
Yes, there's more coming.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And so people, at least the ones that listen to my podcast or knew you before they know you now.
Okay.
Because of your music, and thanks again so much for the beautiful music for Island Life that I can use it. It's perfect. It's just a match made, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of, you know, this song came to me just out of luck. I don't know, maybe the law of attraction, whatever.
Maybe, yeah.
So thanks again for that, and so cool that we can sit together now.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, man. Thanks for using it and the chat.
For sure.
Everything.
Is there anything you want to let the people know? Just
Just take that risk, guys. Take that risk.
Cool. Yeah.
No. I guess I should be professional about it. Yeah, you can find me, Kirzy, Kirzy. It's my surname. That's why it's a bit difficult, but Polish surname. Find me at Spotify and that. I'm trying to push my original music, or on YouTube, or on Instagram.
Your link tree is always embedded in my show notes.
Nice one, man. Thanks a lot.
For
so you
sure.
can find me through the link.
Yes.
Kirzy link. And if you come to Fuerteventura, maybe see you at a gig or something. So
I can totally recommend that.
Oh, nice one.
Perfect, man.
Thanks for listening,
guys.
Thank
you so much.
Thanks, man.
All right, man.
Thank you.
This show is about the small pinches in life that have a big effect. Harry gave me a lot to think about. The small pinches in his life that I took out of our conversations are: take a gap in your life to find yourself. Go travel, or just find some time for yourself. You don't have to find the one thing that you have to do for the rest of your life. It can be many things. Just start with one. Luck depends on being open for new things, people, and places. So you have to make yourself visible if you want to be seen. If you don't feel ready, go for it and do it anyways. If it doesn't work, learn from it and do it again. Which leads me to fear setting. Is the fear that I have really so bad? And can I take out the downside of it? Normally, things are not as bad as we imagine them to be. If you want to know more about Harry Kirzy, listen to his music, or watch his music videos, everything you need you'll find in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening. And if you really want to make me happy, hit the subscribe button, like, and share the episode. It really would mean the world to me. Take care, and until soon.
I got that island life, it's got me feeling alright.